We spent 3 years saying a big, fond farewell to you as you toured the world.
Yes.
And now you're going on tour again.
Yes.
Is this the I'm sorry I forgot my keys tour?
No, it's not. It's the you better do it now because you're never going to do it again. No, it's that.
Because I've heard you talking about the touring, and you love the shows,
but I hate the road.
You hate the road?
Yeah.
Why do you hate it so much?
Because it's lonely, and you never know where you are, and you can't do anything, and you have to save your voice, and it's no fun. It's very isolating, and it's the only thing that saves it is when you go out on stage and having a good time with everyone, and that is good. But I'm not sure how long I can do it. I won't do it for a long time. But I just realized this time, like, I didn't really want to, but then I thought, if I don't do it this time, I'm not going to be doing it in 2 years or 3 years when I'm Rita Kane. I'm just not doing it. You know what I mean? I'm 67, and I'm not going to do it if I don't do it now.
Good gasp. Very good gasp, everyone. Excellent. Now, I think, are we allowed to talk about, because you're not doing the Vegas residency anymore.
No.
And I remember I talked to you before, but not on the show, where you were saying how you found those shows quite difficult.
Yes.
The Vegas shows. Are we allowed to talk about that?
Yes, I don't care.
But no, so the Vegas shows, you're used to it being, like, you go out on stage and it's a party, it's people just screaming and nuts. So you go out on stage in Vegas and...
Well, they're not allowed to stand up, and they're very, very old. And sometimes they've had walkers, and sometimes they had oxygen masks. I'm not kidding.
Oh, God.
And it took me a long time because I was very angry for a long time, and then finally I thought, you know, this might be the last concert they ever see. and at least they're enjoying it in their own way, and it's not my way. It doesn't make me feel that good, but they're having a wonderful time, so I just have to allow them to have their wonderful time. And if they got too rowdy, then ushers would come and sit them down.
No!
Even if they had oxygen.
Now, David's been talking about how much he loves you.
Oh, yes.
Oh, and I love him, but he's married. But we've been in love forever.
Well, I've been in love with you
since...
since...
But then he got married. And
That was cruel.
it's very cruel.
But now, because...
I didn't know you were available.
When you kissed me, you didn't know.
But we weren't sure...
Get a room.
But now, we weren't sure whether to mention Rock Profiles that David and Matt did. We didn't know whether you'd like that or not. Here's Shirley. Well, their version of Shirley. There she is. And are you Tom Jones?
I'm Tom Jones.
He doesn't have the range.
It was a wonderful documentary on you. It was in the 90s, which was the time you were working the propeller heads, and it showed you Monte Carlo, and we watched that documentary, and it's one of the things you say. You say, have you heard Tina sing Goldeneye? And I say, she doesn't have the range.
How could... You said it.
You said it first.
Oh, that's a lie. I love you, Tina. You're not doing it at... no, you're not, are you?
Not at the moment.
Not at the Royal Variety Show. I'm going to miss you.
I'm really sorry, because I would absolutely love to be on stage with you at the Royal Variety, but I've got to be in Norfolk. I'm in Norfolk filming, and they won't let me. If you sent a private jet or something, maybe I could do it.
I could, but his wife told him no.
So you're doing the Royal Variety, but you're doing Strictly Come Dancing up in Blackpool, which seems unlikely.
Yes, I haven't been there for 25 years, I think.
Yes, I was very surprised to hear you'd agreed to go again, but... did they tell you it was Blackpool? They just say Strictly Come Dancing.
Yes.
And what are you giving them?
Well, because it's 50 years of Goldfinger...
Of course. Oh, Goldfinger. And it's Richard's favourite Shirley Bassey song.
Really?
It's a heck of an endorsement. It may now be a hit.
50 years ago.
And that image is kind of, you know, the jeans, the T-shirt,
Yeah.
kind of working guy image you have. It's interesting that when you were a kid, what you loved were kind of the showmen, like Elvis and Jagger and all of that.
I regret it to this day. I've never looked good dressed up. I look
But didn't you practice the moves?
I look ridiculous when I get really dressed up. You know, I always wanted the gold lame suit, and but no, it never worked for me.
But you did practice like Jagger moves and stuff, didn't you?
Well, every front man worth his salt has stood in front of a mirror at some point in time with either the broom or the tennis racket and spent hours just moving to little 45s in his room. So, yeah, that was a big part of my, my studies.
And in terms of Elvis, is the story about Graceland true?
Me raiding Graceland, you mean?
Yeah, well, when Elvis was still alive.
It was 1975, and we were in Memphis, and Stephen and I wanted to go to an all-night diner. It was around 3 a.m. We got in a taxi. The taxi cab said, yeah, man, there's one right out by Elvis's house. Elvis's house? You know where Elvis lives? Take us there right now. The taxi driver took us to Graceland, and I got out. I saw there was some lights on in the house, because you could see the house wasn't far up the drive. Yeah. Gates were locked, the stone wall. I looked at Steve. I said, Steve, I'm going in. and the taxi driver said, hey, man, don't go in there. They got big dogs over there. Don't go over that wall. I said, well, when's the opportunity going to come again? I jumped over the wall, ran up the drive, got to the front door. And I was just about to knock on the front door, and a security guy came out of the bushes. And he said, Dad, can I help you? And very casually, like, I said, yeah, is Elvis here? You know? He said, well, Elvis is in Las Vegas. I said, okay, well, can you tell him, and I generally don't like to do this, but that Bruce Springsteen was here. And he may not know who that is, but I was just on the cover of Time and Newsweek. For you young folks, they were magazines. He says, yeah, I was just, and could you tell him, yeah, I'll tell Elvis, and he came down and walked me out and let me out. That's as close as I ever got to Elvis Presley.
Wow. Good. Has Sting... Have you been stung?
Well, I have. I actually keep bees down in Wiltshire. I have a dozen hives.
OK.
And I usually go and visit them just to make sure they're doing OK, because bees are very stressed at the moment. They're dying out. So I go and see them, and we get along normally. But I was walking away from the hives, and a bee came above me and stung me right on the crown of my head. Ooh. And it was the most exquisite pain. It was like a psychedelic experience, and my whole brain went... I haven't been the same since. This is 10 years ago. I was like, wow, sting me again, baby.
Apparently the other end, not so good.
Well, I'm usually protected at that end, not my head.
Now, there's been a lot of talk of the royals tonight, and I heard you tell a story about how a member of the royal family sort of inadvertently played a part in your success.
Well, I come from Wallsend on Tyneside, where we build big ships. We used to build big ships. And the only celebrities we ever saw were royals. When they would come and launch a ship, they'd make a speech and, you know, throw some champagne over the bows and launch the ship into the river. So, say I'm 8 years old, it's 1960. I'm not sure of the name of the ship they were launching, but right at the end of my street, there's the huge ship. And we're all standing out there with our little Union Jacks in our short pants. And down the street, at a stately pace, comes this big Rolls Royce with police outriders, and it's the Queen Mother come to launch the ship. So I'm waving, and she somehow catches my eye. And, you know, she's doing her royal thing that they do.
Claire, is that good? That looked very accurate.
She catches my eye and stays with me and has this amazing effect on me, because I think, you know, I don't actually want to be in the street. I don't want to end up in the shipyard. I want to be in that car. Really, I want a bigger life. I want to be in the world. And so she, I suppose, fired my ambition. So thank you, thank you.
Yes. It is time to meet our first remote guest tonight. She is a music icon and probably, no offence, one of my favourite people on the planet. It's only Dolly Parton!
Thank you. Hello.
Hello. You built the set, Dolly?
Well, you know, anything for you, and we tried to make it look just like it. We have some really talented people, so thanks to my guy Vance for doing that.
That's gorgeous. We haven't done this before, but I think I should introduce who's here. Rupert Everett is here.
How do you do,
Sarah
Dolly?
Pascoe's
Hi,
here.
Hi.
And Lolly Adefope. Lolly, Dolly, Dolly, Lolly.
Hi, Lolly.
Hi, Dolly.
How are you? All of you. Good to see all of you.
Now, you've brought out a beautiful book. It is a mighty tome. Dolly Parton, songteller, My Life in Lyrics. It tells your life, but through all the songs you've written. And sort of, I think we all know that, you know, Dolly Parton's a songwriter, but you've written something like 3,000 songs.
Well, I don't have 3,000 in that book. I've written at least that many. I've been writing since I was a little bitty kid. But we have about 170 plus songs in that. And a lot of them, of course, are songs that you know, all the hits. But I chose from the 3,000 songs that I thought would be interesting to tell the stories behind the scene, why I wrote them, where I was in my life and in my mind and in my emotional self at the time. So I really tried to tell good stories, and a lot of these lyrics are not hit songs, but they're songs that are meaningful to me and telling why that is. And so it's an interesting little book, I think, if you're interested in me at all, and if you're not, still wraps up good.
But Dolly, there's stuff that even you discovered doing this book. You know, in doing the research, you record your songs, when you're writing your songs, you record them on these demo cassettes. And didn't you find, like, one demo cassette with, like, 2 of your biggest hits back to back?
I did. In fact, I was more surprised about that than any. I used to always write, and I still do, on my little cassette player. But I have tons and tons of cassettes in my basement and in boxes. So a couple of years ago, we thought, well, we need to get all these things done up to where we don't lose them and they deteriorate. So they go through that whole process of putting everything on, you know, how they save them. And so we were going through the cassettes, and we had on one cassette, Jolene and I Will Always Love You back to back. So I had to have written them, maybe if not the same day, within that same period of time, because I would often write and put a song down and then maybe a day or two later. But I don't know, I very well may have written those at the same time. If so, it was a really good writing night for me. I was surprised to find that out, me playing my little guitar on both those songs. And took me back in time, but I was surprised at that.
Yeah, I mean, what a made to write those with the stars aligned. Jolene and I Will Always Love You. And the Whitney Houston version of that song, I think you talk in the book about when you heard her version.
They had asked me about the song months before, because they were looking for a song for that Bodyguard movie, because the one they had planned to use, someone else covered. So they were looking for a song, and I guess they thought, well, Dolly's song of I Will Always Love You might be a good one. So they asked me about it, I sent it, and I forgot about it. And I was driving home in my car from my office, going through Brentwood, a little town out where I live, and in Nashville. And I just heard this voice come on the radio, like, if I should stay. It was like, it kind of rang a bell, but it didn't hit because she was kind of talking it. And then all of a sudden, it went into the I Will Always Love You part, and I had to pull off the side of the road, seriously, to listen to it. But it was one of the most overwhelming feelings I've ever had, to hear that done so well, so beautiful, so big. Had no idea I'd written a song that could be that important, and I didn't. I think she just took it and made it so much more than what it would have ever been, but it was such a thrill and a joy as a songwriter. I don't think I'll ever have a greater thrill, ever.
I'm loving this couch. Now, you guys all know each other, don't you?
Oh, yeah, we hung out backstage.
Oh, yeah, we're never not. We're rarely apart.
But no, but Katie, you've sung Paul's songs, haven't you?
I sang Hey Jude at a benefit called Music Cares that was honoring him.
Oh.
Yes, it was very nice. I sing all of his songs. I've sang them all my life. So I'm sitting next to him. Oh my God.
Yeah. Well, actually, but you were
sitting next to Katie.
Guys, I'm right here.
But you return the favour with Katie's songs, don't you? You were telling me that you and your daughter...
Well, yeah, I have a 10-year-old daughter, and we love Fireworks. I mean, it's a great song.
It's a fantastic song. And here's the other odd thing about our sofa tonight. 2 pop stars, James Corden, and yet they all have had a #1 single. Yeah. Katy Perry, how many of you? You've had 10? 10 here?
Yeah.
8 here?
A
bunch, anyway.
Yeah.
You've had a lot.
A handful, yes.
James, the... One. It was one, wasn't it? Yeah.
Let's not get carried away. It was a terrible song for charity.
You give too much, James.
Don't ever stop, Katie. That's the truth.
So you had one. Now, Paul McCartney. Do you want to have a guess? Have a guess, Katie and James. How many #1s is it?
Which albums are we counting here?
Which is singles,
solo,
right? Are we talking singles?
All solo, right?
Yes, it'd be not albums. This is single #1 singles.
I think 55.
I think 42.
OK, it's disappointing now. It's going to be, Try again lower. Try again lower. It'll be good. Yeah.
I thought you had 10, and I've only been going for like 5 years.
I've had one. I'm not even a singer. It's not difficult, Graham. That's what we're trying to get across.
Is it more than 10?
Yes.
Yes. I think 21.
Oh, that's a good guess.
20?
24.
Yes! Oh, it is 24. But this is the kicker, though. So 24 singles, but he has spent 98 weeks at #1.
Oh, wow.
98 with 2 years at #1.
That was a long time. Right?
You know, I love that song Ram On.
You do?
It's one of my favorite songs of yours that you've ever done.
Well, thank you,
It's
Katie. It's a
beautiful.
very little song.
I know, it sounds like a ukulele.
It is a ukulele, yeah.
So sweet. I listen to it with my boyfriend all the time. We love it.
We do enjoy it when we listen to it together.
So much has happened backstage.